time, lawyer David Hollingsworth is going to take your calls and legal questions. But in order to learn, we often ask David to present a case, something that he's working on, so we have a greater understanding and everyone can garner a little something from the story or the specific. I guess this one is a cold call that you received from a woman who was injured and her daughter. They were both injured in a car accident.
Exactly, yeah. So I was just looking at the case this morning, and what it is there's a 9-year-old girl. They're new Canadians, a single mother who doesn't speak any English. We're in a fairly serious motor vehicle accident, and it would have been a year, and I guess the mother was fussing with the insurance company over a $20 invoice, and they gave me a call, and I went out to their home to meet them, and it was actually this past summer. It was a hot day. The daughter was sitting inside with the mom, and I guess the son was out at camp, and we started talking about this invoice, and I said, well, why is the daughter not at the camp as well? And the mother said, well, she's got this bad brain injury, and she can't leave the home. And so I took a look at the daughter's file, and within 5 minutes I realized that although the daughter was entitled to and required up to $6,000 a month in nursing care, she was only getting $3,000 a month, and there were a whole bunch of other medical and rehabilitation benefits that she was supposed to be getting, and she just wasn't getting them because she wasn't told about them and didn't know, and a year had gone by.
The reason you're bringing this up is that you want everyone to really pay close attention to what you're paying for in your policy.
Yeah, exactly. It just reminds me one more time that, I mean, our insurance laws in Ontario are complicated, and people do concern themselves with their premiums that they're paying, but then when they finally go to use their policy, people really don't know. And just the need to get a specialist or an expert in the area to sort of help wade through some of these difficult the paperwork. Girl doing? You know what? She's actually doing remarkably well. It was a severe brain injury where she was in a coma, and she's got some serious facial disfigurements, but she's doing well. She's got a smile on her face, and we're helping her out.
Well, we're going to help you out, actually. It's not very often you're offered free legal advice, but we try to do that every 8 weeks or so. So the numbers to call, 613-750-1211 or 1-888-750-1211. And it's really interesting in our history. It seems that February is always paperwork month. If you're not out enjoying the canal or doing those sorts of things, a lot of people say, okay, this is the month when I'm going to write my will. So if you have a question about wills or property or personal injury, give us a call, 613-750-1211, or as I said, 1-888-750-1211. We'll be back with lawyer David Hollingsworth after the break. When offering legal advice, the phones fill up rather quickly. We're going to get right to your calls and questions so we can reach as many of you as possible. We have Marie on the line. Marie, your question for lawyer David Hollingsworth. Hi there, Marie.
Hello.
Hi. What would you like to know today?
My name is Marie Richard. I live in a condominium, and I have a little 7-pound Shih Tzu. She's so cute. She's a year old. And I'm a senior citizen, and it's only in inclement weather that I walk her down, like freezing rain or heavy wind. She hates it. And it's good exercise for me, and my doctors recommended the dog. It gets me out of the house, and it gives the little dog some exercise.
Marie, you are a great storyteller, but we need you to get to your legal question.
I have sent a letter because my doctor says she's a service dog. And so what's my recourse here?
Well, Marie, I'm assuming that the problem is that there's somebody within the condominium who's not happy about you having this dog. Is that right?
Yes.
Okay, so what you look to first is you look to every condominium has what's called a declaration, and the declaration sets out some of the rules, and then within the declaration there are bylaws.
Yes.
And sometimes the bylaws set out the rules, and then sometimes within the whole condominium package there are also rules and regulations.
Yes.
Now the first thing you want to do is look to see if the no dogs allowed is in the declaration, in the bylaws, or in the rules and regulations, because if it's in the declaration it's harder to get around. If it's in the rules and regulations it's easier to get around. Although all bets may be off in the event that you've got a letter from your doctor saying that this is a service dog. I think if you bring that letter into the condo board and show it to them, if you've got ongoing problems after that, then it's definitely time to consult a lawyer to give you a hand.
We want to thank you for your call, Marie, and you are a great storyteller. We do have Eleanor on the line. Good luck with that. We have Eleanor on the line with David Hollingsworth. Eleanor.
Hi, yes. Can you tell me how power of attorneys are supposed to work? We have 2 names on ours. Can one person override the other person and say, that's it, I'm in charge?
That's an excellent question, and powers of attorney are so important. We always like to broach that whenever we have you on for a legal segment.
Yeah, well, it is an excellent question, and I guess you would just have to look at the actual power of attorney. Often they're to decide jointly. In the event that they can't agree, then there may sometimes be appointed somebody else who can make the decision. If one is a substitute for the first, and the first one makes the decision.
So if you have two powers of attorney and they are they do not agree on what should be done.
If it's a power of attorney that it relates to personal care, usually within the power of attorney. So, okay. Usually within the power of attorney, it will say somewhere in consultation with my physicians from time to time. In other words, the powers of attorney are to consult a doctor. And so that's what I would urge the powers of attorney to do if it's a medical decision.
We've already done that, but this other person is still overriding us.
Well, I mean, listen, there are unfortunately sometimes the only avenue is to get a court order, and that you know, that sometimes is the last resort, and hopefully you don't have to resort to that.
Good luck with everything, Eleanor. Now, just this gives us an opportunity, David, to just talk about why everyone should have a power of attorney. And it's unfair for me to ask you, but I am anyway. How many people do or don't? I mean, what percentage of the population?
You know what? I think a lot of people don't, and I think it's on that sort of list that people craft in January, the things to do list, or the New Year's resolution.
But you need a power of attorney because?
Well, you need a power of attorney in the event that you become incapacitated to make decisions regarding your own personal care. You know, often the hospitals will speak to a family member, but sometimes there are difficulties like this. So for personal care, you want it. For property, you have to be very careful, because if you give somebody a power of attorney to, you know, they could potentially go in and clear out your bank account. So those are very
choose wisely.
Yeah, and you can restrict the power of attorney as well. They can make decisions as it relates to, I'm on vacation, I'm trying to sell my house, they can sign an agreement of purchase and sale, but that's it. But it's valuable, because when you don't have one, you can really be stuck, even if there's somebody who you want to have help you, who could help you and would help you, but they don't have that paper, so a bank won't recognize it.
Okay, we have Sarah on the line, and we're trying to get to as many of you as we said. Hi there, Sarah. Your question for David.
Good afternoon. I would like to know, we have a pretty high amount on our credit cards, excuse me, and we were wondering what's the best way to go, whether we should go bankrupt, or we're trying to get a loan from the bank, but they won't let us have a loan because we don't have any collateral. I was off for 6 years because I had twin babies and I couldn't go back to work. So I was wondering if the best way to go is go by bankruptcy.
Well, I mean, it's obviously that's an option. Again, speaking of last resorts, I think that tends to be a bit of a last resort option. You know, there are ways of negotiating. There are ways of consolidating. There are bankruptcy and insolvency trustees who can help you with this without actually going bankrupt. They can consolidate your debts. I mean, it might be worth your while to see a bankruptcy and insolvency trustee, and there are a number of very reputable ones here in town.
So certainly look to that before bankruptcy, because of all of the problems that could appear or unfold down the line. Thank you for your call. We have, I think it's either Belinda or Linda on the line. Linda?
Yes, hi.
Hi there. Your question for Dave.
Okay, my question is, I was in the supermarket and I had an incident where the 30 cases of soda fell and hit my leg that I had just knee surgery on, 2 surgeries in a year.
How horrible.
And I don't know what to do, because the owner is calling me he's very nice, seeing if I'm okay, but I don't know whether I should consult a lawyer.
Well,
you're asking a lawyer whether you should consult a lawyer.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sorry to hear that this has happened. And in Ontario, anytime you're injured in a premises such as a grocery store, there is something called the Occupiers Liability Act that says that a property owner has to make sure it's safe for the people who are there. And so if you were injured, then you might be entitled to make a claim for your personal injury, and you'd want to consult with a doctor, consult with a lawyer as to what the case might be worth, and it's definitely worth your while. I hope it's not serious.
And we hope you heal well, but I have to say, in this litigious world, it is refreshing to hear that the store owner actually called it of concern to hear how she was doing, because so often people don't like to admit any liability, so it's nice to see the humanity before the liability.
Right, yes, and actually there's something called the Apology Act in Ontario, where you're allowed to apologize to somebody without it being used against you later, and I think more people should know about that.
Explain.
Well, it's simple. It's the Apology Act, and it's not very old. I can't remember when it came into effect, but it's to encourage people to be able to apologize instead of you know, feeling that if they apologize, it's going to later be used against them. And so, yeah, it's called the Apology Act.
Well, we all learned something from Linda's question.
But anyway, Linda, it may be worth your while to consult a personal injury lawyer about this. Certainly, if it's exacerbated a pre-existing knee injury, it's worth taking a look at for sure.
We want to thank you all for your calls and questions. We want to thank you for your answer and your education. And there's a link to Dave's website on our website as well.
Great, thanks.